If you get up every morning, drag yourself to a job you don't love, swap 5 days of your life for 2 days of freedom, and then someone tells you that is what success looks like, they're lying to you. Don't get me wrong. There is nothing shameful about having a job. I've had plenty. I've washed cars. I've swept floors. I've packed boxes in a freezing warehouse at 5 a.m. while my fingers went numb. But here is what nobody told me back then, and what your boss is definitely not going to tell you now. Working for someone else is a game designed to keep you comfortable enough, not to quit, but broke enough that you can't leave. And unless you understand the one thing that separates people who build real wealth from people who just build someone else's dream, you will stay on that hamster wheel for the next 40 years, and the wheel will never take you anywhere, except back to Monday morning. Let me show you the math that woke me up. I remember sitting on the floor of my rented room when I was 19, staring at a piece of paper, doing numbers that felt almost offensive. Let's say you make $25 an hour. That sounds pretty decent, right? A lot of people would kill for $25 an hour. Now, multiply that by 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year, you get $52,000 before taxes, before rent, before the government reaches into your pocket and takes their slice before you've even poured your morning cereal. Now, let's be generous and say you save 10% of that, 10% of your pre-tax income. That is $5,200 a year, over 40 years, without a single emergency, without a car breaking down, without a medical bill. You'd have a little over 200 grand, $200,000 after 4 decades of your life. Meanwhile, your boss just bought a boat with the profit margin you generated for him last quarter. And that is when it hit me. The system isn't broken. The system is working exactly the way it was designed to work. It is just that you were never supposed to be the one getting rich from it. When I was 16, I left school with no qualifications. Not because I was some genius rebel who saw through the system. I left because I had no choice. And for a while, I did every single thing the world tells you to do. I worked hard. I showed up early. I stayed late. I smiled at customers who treated me like furniture. And after all that, I had absolutely nothing to show for it, except sore feet and a bank balance that looked like a countdown timer. Then I accidentally discovered something that changed the entire direction of my life. I discovered that there are essentially 3 games being played with money, and almost everyone is stuck playing the wrong one. Here's the first game. It is called the employee game. The rules are very simple. You trade your time for money. 1 hour equals 1 fixed payment. The problem is not that the payment is low. The problem is that you can never trade more than 24 hours in a day, and you physically need to sleep, eat, and occasionally stare at a wall, questioning your life choices. So your earning potential is biologically capped. The second problem is that in this game, you are the product. The company buys your time at wholesale price, packages it into something valuable, and sells it at retail price. The difference between those 2 prices is called profit, and it goes into someone else's pocket. That someone is not you. That is not a conspiracy. That is just a business model, and it works beautifully for them. The second game is the self-employed game. This is where a lot of people go when they realize the employee game is rigged. They say, fine, I'll work for myself. I'll be my own boss. I'll do freelance graphic design. I'll start a small bakery. I'll become a personal trainer. And that is definitely a step up. Don't get me wrong. But here is the trap. Most self-employed people simply buy themselves a job. They stop working for one boss and start working for 20 bosses, all of whom think their project is the most urgent thing in the universe. They still trade time for money. If they stop working, the money stops coming in. They have built a machine that requires their hands on the wheel at all times. And that is not freedom. That is just a more exhausting prison with better wallpaper. The third game is the one I want you to learn how to play. I call it the ownership game. In this game, you stop selling your time and you start building assets. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket while you are asleep, while you are on vacation, while you are sitting in your boss's meeting pretending to take notes, but actually designing your exit strategy on a notepad. Assets don't care if you show up. They don't care if you are tired. They just keep working. And this is the game that every single wealthy person you admire has figured out. They don't necessarily shout about it because it is not exciting dinner conversation, but it is the quiet engine behind every fortune you've ever seen. Now, I know what you are thinking. You are thinking, Mark, this sounds great, but I have $43 in my bank account. My landlord just raised the rent, and my biggest asset right now is a half-used gift card to a coffee shop I don't even like. How am I supposed to build assets? And I hear you. That was exactly me. But here is the secret. They don't teach you in school. You do not need money to start building assets. You need a skill, a Wi-Fi connection, and the willingness to look a little bit stupid for about 6 months. That is it. Those 3 things are the raw ingredients. And from them, you can cook up something that pays you for the rest of your life. Let me give you the simplest, most overlooked path. It is called an online service asset, not a job, not freelance, an asset. Here is the difference. If you edit videos for a client and charge by the hour, that is a job disguised as a business. But if you build a system where clients come to you, where you have packaged your service into a repeatable offer, where you document your process and build a reputation that attracts people without you having to chase them, that is an asset. The same pair of hands, the same skill, but a completely different structure. And the structure is everything. When I started my first little venture, I was washing cars in rich neighborhoods. I would walk around, spot houses with beautiful gardens, but dusty vehicles, and knock on the door. $10 a car, cash. By the end of the first weekend, I had $80. I felt like a king. But the real value of that experience was not the $80. It was the realization that I had just created a tiny, ugly, barely functioning asset. I had turned my willingness to do something others didn't want to do into money. And money, when you use it right, can be planted like a seed. So let's talk about seeds. Take that online service skill of yours. Maybe you are good at writing. Maybe you can design simple graphics. Maybe you understand how to make a TikTok video that actually gets views. None of these require a degree. None of them require permission. What they require is for you to stop thinking like an employee and start thinking like an owner. An employee asks, what job can I get? An owner asks, what value can I package? Do you see the difference? One is asking for a seat at someone else's table. The other is building their own table and inviting people to sit down. Here is a very practical example. Let's say you can write. You don't need to be Shakespeare. You just need to be able to put words together in a way that helps a business sell something. That is called copywriting. Right now, there are thousands of small business owners who desperately need someone to write emails for them, product descriptions, website headlines. They will pay you for this. But if you go to them and say, I'll work for $20 an hour, you have just walked straight back into the employee game, just without the office badge. Instead, what if you created a simple package? Let's call it the email starter kit. 3 emails, 1 week, turnaround, fixed price, $300. Now, you are not selling your time, you are selling a result. And because you have packaged it, you can refine it, you can automate parts of it, you can eventually hire someone else to write the emails while you manage the client relationship. That tiny package is now an asset. It exists independently of your hours. And once you have one asset working, even a small one, your relationship with money changes forever. You stop feeling like a beggar at the gates and start feeling like a gardener who understands that things grow. Of course, the transition from employee mindset to owner mindset is not just about money. It is about identity. Most of us have been trained since childhood to believe that a safe job is the highest virtue. Your parents told you to study hard so you could get a good job. They meant, well, they wanted you to be secure, but they were giving you advice from a world where jobs came with pensions and loyalty was rewarded. That world is gone. We are now living in a world where loyalty is punished, and your biggest risk is not starting a side hustle. Your biggest risk is doing exactly what you are told for 30 years and then waking up at 52, realizing you have nothing of your own. No assets, no systems, no leverage. Just a clock in code and a fading memory of the dreams you used to have. And I know this sounds harsh, but I am telling you this because I wish someone had grabbed me by the shoulders when I was 18 and told me the truth. The truth is that you are capable of far more than your job description suggests. The truth is that the economy is full of tiny cracks where money leaks out, and if you position yourself correctly, you can catch some of it. The truth is that the internet has flattened the world in a way that makes building assets more accessible than at any point in human history. You can start a YouTube channel without asking anyone. You can design a digital product in your bedroom. You can record a voiceover, write a guide, create a template, sell it while you sleep. This is not theory. This is happening right now today by people who are not smarter than you, not richer than you, not more talented than you. They just chose to play a different game. So if you are sitting there right now, maybe after a long shift, maybe in your dorm room, maybe on your couch with your phone in your hand, and you feel this little knot of frustration in your chest, that is not a bad thing. That is your brain telling you something important. It is telling you that you are not designed to trade the best hours of your best years for a discount. You were designed to create, to build, to own something that is yours. And the beautiful part is you don't have to quit your job tomorrow. You don't have to make a dramatic announcement. All you have to do is take 2 hours this Saturday, just 2 hours, and start planting a seed. Think about what skill you already have that you've been undervaluing. Think about who might need that skill. Think about how you could package it into something simple. Then go and offer it to one person, not 100, one. And when you get your first yes, and you will get a yes, you will have crossed a line that most people never cross. You will have stopped being someone who sells time and started being someone who owns their future. Because here is the thing they never put in the employee handbook. No one is coming to save you. Your boss is not going to walk over one day and say, you know what? You've been doing such a great job that I've decided to give you ownership of the company. That is not how it works. The only person who can change your financial destiny is you. And the best time to start was 5 years ago. The second best time is this Saturday at 9 a.m. with a cup of coffee and a completely blank page. I've been where you are, broke, overwhelmed, feeling like the world was a party I wasn't invited to, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that the door is not locked. The door was never locked. You just had to stop knocking and start turning the handle. Making money is not luck. It is not a mystery. It is a set of rules. And once you learn them, no one can take that knowledge away from you. Your first $10,000, your first $50,000, your first $100,000, they all start with a single decision. The decision to stop playing a game you can't win and start playing a game that was designed for you. So here is your homework, and I mean this. Don't just watch this video and nod and click away. Take out a piece of paper, write down one skill you have that someone might pay for. Underneath that, write down who might pay for it. And underneath that, write down a one-sentence description of a simple package you could offer them this week. That is it. 3 lines. The most important 3 lines you'll write this year. Because that piece of paper, that tiny seed of an idea, is worth more than 1,000 hours of overtime. It is the first brick in a foundation that is actually yours. If you found this useful, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell, because I am making more videos for people who are ready to stop trading time and start building something real. And if you want to know exactly how I build my first online service asset from zero today, then watch this video right here. I've laid out the entire playbook, step by step. That is where the real magic happens. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.